So after his buzzer beater, Kyle Kuzma said that he is a starter on most NBA teams, and the reason he doesn't start for the Lakers is because he's got LeBron and AD ahead of him. I applaud the hell out of Kuzma's confidence, and I think he could play a big role for the Lakers in the postseason. But I'm bored, and we're waiting for the playoffs to actually start. So I figured, why not look at every NBA team's depth chart and see if Kuzma's actually right on if he'd be a starter on most NBA teams. Okay, so here we are, ESPN depth charts. If we start with the Atlanta Hawks, Kevin Huerter and DeAndre Hunter would be Kuzma's two chances. He's not playing over Collins at the 4. So, would you rather start Kevin Huerter or Kyle Kuzma? I mean, Herter's a much better shooter. Kuzma shot like 29% from 3 this year. DeAndre Hunter is a better defensive player than Kuzma is. This one's kind of a maybe, but if we're talking about a world in which Kuzma's got a little bit more free reign on offense, maybe he could be a starter over one of these guys. I don't know. Atlanta's a maybe. Hopefully I end up remembering the numbers of maybes and yeses. The Celtics, no, Kuzma's not a starter. That's pretty safe to say. We move on to the Brooklyn Nets. So this is apparently their bubble starting 5. Karis LeVert, Joe Harris. Is this Lance Thomas of New York Knicks fame? Kuzma would start over Lance Thomas right now. If we're talking about the starting 5 of the next year's version of the Nets, I mean, KD is your 3, Kyrie's your point guard, LeVert's probably still the 2 guard, we'll have to see there. Your power forward's probably Taurean Prince. I would say Taurean Prince is better than Kuzma right now, so take that for whatever you will, but for this lineup, yeah, Kuzma's in there. The Charlotte Hornets, does he play over Terry Rozier, Miles Bridges, or PJ Washington? I think PJ's better than Kuzma, mainly because of the shooting. Bridges, Miles Bridges, up to this point, I don't have a strong take on him. So that's a maybe. We'll give you a maybe on Charlotte. The Chicago Bulls, Shaquille Harrison, which would be Otto Porter if he was healthy. Is this even the right starting 5 for the Bulls, though? Like, Satoransky started basically the whole year for them. Chris Dunn started a lot of games. Can Kuzma start over Shaquille Harrison? Sure. Does he start over Otto Porter? No. He doesn't start over Markkanen, we'll say that one, even if Markkanen wasn't great this season. Does Kuzma start over, like, Satoransky if he's in the starting 5? Probably not. I mean, Satoransky's more of a disciplined guy who just, he's a better playmaker. A boring player, but he's probably a safer pick for you. So I don't know what to do with the Bulls. I kind of want to go no, because I don't think this is a correct starting 5 for them. The Cleveland Cavaliers, Cedi Osman or Kyle Kuzma. I feel like Cedi is probably the better player if you dive into all the boring analytics and stuff, which I am a big fan of doing. But I feel like for the sake of it, we can give Kuzma Cleveland. I think that's fine. You could even play around with it a bit, move Sexton to point guard, throw Kuzma in there at one of the wing spots. I still like Kevin Porter Jr. maybe more than anybody else on this team. Sexton's pretty good. You could try some Kevin Love at center, tell Drummond to go F himself, put Kuzma at the 4. There's potential there. We'll give him a yes for Cleveland. We have 2 yeses so far, the Brooklyn Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Dallas Mavericks. Okay, so as the Mavs are listed here, I would probably not start Kuzma, because Finney-Smith, 3-and-D guy. Kuzma legitimately shot 29% from 3, at least before the break. Finney-Smith has grown into a good 3-point shooter. Hardaway gives him a nice 15-16. Seth Curry at the 2, I mean, he might have been starting to open up the season. There's a little bit of, I don't totally know who their starting 2 guard really is like that. I mean, we're also accounting for Porzingis at center when Dwight Powell was the starting center for a lot of the year. So there is some shuffling that could go around here. I'm going to go with no. Because even then, like, if we're going to say Seth Curry is a starting 2 guard, I'd rather have his shooting than Kuzma's inconsistent shooting, you know what I mean? The Denver Nuggets, no. Even if you want to put Will Barton over Gary Harris, which actually I think you should do, no. Michael Porter Jr. has been lighting the world on fire. Millsap's better than Kuzma, much better defensive player, all that. That's going to be a no for the Nuggets. The Pistons, I think there's some potential here. Shvi McCulloch, who should be Luke Kennard. I would have Luke over Kuzma. I would start Kuzma over Tony Snell. Snell might be a nice 3-and-D guy, but in this situation, I would rather start Kuzma, because I figure if you let him go a little bit, he might be able to give you more than Snell's like 7 points and okay defense every game, you know? The Warriors... See, like, if we're counting Damian Lee as the starting 2, then yeah, Kuzma's in. Just put Wiggins at the 2, or just put Kuzma at the 2. It's not that big of a deal. If Clay is in, then no, there's not really a case here. I mean, actually, is there a Wiggins-Kuzma argument to be had? Is there? It's kind of a funny one, but it might exist. I mean, really, we could put Draymond at center. We can get Marquise Chris out of there. We can get Kuzma at the 4. There you go. I found a way to have him be a yes for the Warriors. How about that one for you? The Rockets, I mean, I don't think they would want him based on his three-point percentage. And they'd put Daniel House over Gordon if there was going to be some shuffling. I think Houston is a no for Kuzma. The Pacers, no. Their starting 5 is pretty watertight, I would say. I mean, maybe some Sabonis, but even then, if I'm going to put Sabonis at center, or if I'm going to take Sabonis out and have Turner at center, I'd rather have McDermott in his shooting or someone like that as opposed to Kuzma in there for me. The Clippers, no. Lakers, well, he's already on the Lakers. I mean, if Davis is at center, then it's a yes. So, sure, we'll give him a yes on his own team. How about that one? That can still count, right? The Grizzlies, man, Kyle Anderson's kind of bad. Anthony Tolliver's definitely bad, but if we're putting Jaren Jackson here, if we're putting Justice Winslow here, then I think it's going to be a no. Now, if you want to move the imaginary Jaren Jackson to center, then Kuzma probably has an opportunity, so whatever that's worth, but Jaren Jackson's not a full-time center, so I don't know if that one totally counts. Miami. So Derek Jones Jr. started like 16 games, and Myers Leonard started 49. So I don't know if he should really be listed as the starting power forward. If we imagine that Myers Leonard is there, would you rather have him or Kuzma? I mean, you're talking about two totally different guys in terms of size and play style and shot selection. I'd probably have Leonard, though, just because, I don't know, he's a safer bet. Like, Kuzma's inconsistent as hell. We all know this. But then again, like, they've been running out some more, like, Crowder lineups and whatever. But then there's Iguodala as well. I don't think it happens. I don't think there's a place for Kuzma in Miami's starting 5. Unless you want to get real wild with some, like, Jimmy Butler at point guard and you just open up so many wing spots, maybe. Milwaukee, no. The one would be Wesley Matthews, but no. I'd rather just have him spotting up. The T-Wolves, I do like the starting 5. I like the shooting between Russell, Beasley, Wancho, and Towns. I like Okogie as the one defensive guy. I mean, is Kuzma going to play better defense than Okogie? No. Is he going to be a better shooter than Hernan Gomez? No. Is he going to be the shot creator like Beasley? No. I don't think it's there, man. The Pelicans, I don't think it's there. I mean, well, no. See, because what I was going to say is you could put Drew at the point, but then I'm deciding between JJ Redick and Kuzma, and I'd rather have JJ Redick, so the Pelicans are a no. The Knicks, I've got to give them the Knicks. I mean, we can start him over Harkless. I would rather have him starting over Randall if we're talking about the power forward position. I mean, Randall's better than Kuzma, but if you're talking about Randall next to another big guy, spacing is not exactly a thing at that point, you know? So, okay, we can move Randall to the 5. We can put Kuzma in there. You can put Kuzma over Harkless. I think that's okay. The Knicks are a yes. We go to OKC. No. I'd rather have Lou Dort for his defense than the potential of Kuzma having a big game or whatever. The Magic, James Ennis is not the starting 3. He only played like 18 games for them. The starting lineup for them should be Fultz, Fournier, Gordon, Vucevic, and then if everybody's healthy, Isaac. If not that, you're sprinkling in some DJ Augustine. There's Kem Birch who started. I guess it's a little iffy on who the other starter would be without Isaac in there. I mean, based on this, yeah, we can put Kuzma over Ennis. If we're talking about fully healthy, no, but we'll give it to him. The 76ers, the new Sixers with Shake Milton, even if you're not having Ben Simmons in here, it's still a no. Phoenix Suns, I would say also a no. You know, Cam Johnson's a knockdown three-point shooter. So I probably wouldn't start Kuzma over him. I like Bridges for his 3 and D stuff. The Trailblazers, I mean, is there a conversation between Kuzma and Zach Collins? I don't know. I mean, Collins would probably be a better defensive player. I don't think he's looked amazing in the bubble, but he's looked okay. I don't know. Part of me wants to give this a maybe, but I feel like Collins is still more reliable, even if he's just going to score like 7 points a game. At least that's what he's doing in the bubble right now. I'm going no on the Blazers. The Kings, the Sacktown Kings. Does Kuzma find a place, even if you want to put Buddy Hield here? I don't think so. I mean, Bielitsa, he's more of a, space the floor guy who is a kind of an underrated passer. I think he's a little more reliable. Harrison Barnes is pretty solid, if unimpressive at the same time, I guess. So we're going to go no on the Kings. The Spurs, I mean, I would have given Kuzma the nod over Lonnie Walker before the bubble, and maybe I still would. Yeah, I guess we could say yes on the Spurs, even if I'm still pretty intrigued with Lonnie Walker. But if we're talking right now and whatever else, I don't know, maybe I'm just trying to be nice. Raptors, no. That one's... I don't think I really need to explain that one. I want to demote the Spurs one to a maybe, by the way. I think that's more fair. The Jazz, no. Royce O'Neal gives him defense, Ingles gives him playmaking and shooting, Kuzma, he's just inconsistent on those things. One night he might give that to you, the next night, he doesn't. And finally, the Wiz. I think there's a place for Kuzma on the Wiz. You put Beal here. Are we counting John Wall? Yeah, maybe. Troy Brown Jr. I like Troy Brown Jr. I think he's been good in the bubble. But I kind of feel like Kuzma would start over him, even so. He doesn't start over Rui, I'll give you that one. We can give the Wizards a maybe, how about that? Let me tally this up. So yeah, in total, I think there's like 7 yeses. Don't ask me to explain them again, because I probably can't. There are like 4 maybes, and the rest are all no's. So, take that for what you will, man.